We met a long time ago, and we.
It's hard for you to be as attractive as me, though.
No,
Actually, not quite easy.
Yeah.
No, it was. We met, we chatted, and I'd read the script, and I had never met Mike, so we sat down, and I had lots of questions about not the film or the filming or the style, or just about what happened, and about more details about your story, and that's a really healthy place to start. I think if you've got that hunger for the story, that's really good. And then the next thing is, I was off working away, and Mike was desperately trying to get the money, and it was a struggle, But I had Mike record all the dialogue, and I've got still on my laptop this very amusing kind of live play reading with Mike and his assistant Sarah in a room somewhere, reading through all the scenes, as I wanted to have Mike's voice to work with and to work on. Although I didn't try and copy it, I certainly wanted to have a flavour of him. And then I got to watch you all the time when you were on set. It was always like that.
And meanwhile, I'm always telling him, don't worry about me, you're not doing me, don't think about me, just make it a character. The more it's different than me, the better. And then we start doing press together, like a year later, and he's like, oh yeah, I was looking at you. And I'm like, oh, that wasn't my plan.
On that tape, who does the coquettish French accent?
Well, she wasn't written French, so my American assistant sounds very American. Yeah.
But it's full of little moments where Mike he breaks out of character and goes, oh God, you mustn't read it anything like that, you don't have to sound like this. Really analysing, judging his own performance. To
me as a director, even if it wasn't someone based on me, just as a writer-director, I don't want the actor to ever feel like they have to be made narrow by my idea of what the character is, and especially if it's kind of based on me, or me sort of riffing on myself. So I was really, I wanted to give them all as much freedom as I can and as much authorship as they can take on and give it to them. If you don't give it to them, it never works out good. So, and my director mind's really afraid of both Christopher and Ewan maybe feeling a little like, oh, I don't know, not letting the character get into their bloodstream and mean something to them that they have to figure out and do that on their own. And luckily they're both so experienced in really different ways, and Christopher, I'm sure, never thought of that in a beautiful way. Christopher just was like, I am this man now.
Yeah.
And
No.
Yeah, exactly.
You do it like this.
I remember Christopher would call me and say, well, I need to tell him this. And he was saying he's saying like, Hal, need to tell him this. And I was like, oh, interesting. I think this is getting really good.
The transformation has occurred.
Yeah.
It's obviously one of the things that I found really touching about the movie. It's a melancholic movie, but it's also a very funny movie. And those two quite distinct emotions or experiences can be right up against each other in the film. And that's not something, I might be going out on a limb here, but it's not something that's that common in current movies. Was that something you were deliberately trying to get at?
Well, that's kind of a mistake on my part, or just normal. I think God put funny and sad in the same box for me, or something. Like my brain, they're together. There's not a big separation. And then also in real life, my father, there'd be some very dark moment in the hospital, and my father would make the most irreverent joke, which I just try to sort of portray in the film a little bit. And so maybe that's a family thing of mine or something, but to me they are not separate or mutually exclusive qualities, and they go quite well together. But I didn't think that up, or I didn't consciously go, oh, I'm going to put these two together. It's just how I get along in the world.
So if we saw you every day, that's 1 minute you'll be
crying, laughing, crying, right?
You're very loud.
Oh my God, yeah.
And how was it for you, Ewan, to get that balance yourself in that role? Because it's almost always on the knife edge, really.
Well, I just had to be. While in the first story with Hal, he's got a lot on his plate. I think he's dealing with Oliver's dealing with a lot. Well, he's got to reorganize his thoughts about his childhood and his upbringing with this new information, and at the same time look after his father to an extent, who's new to this world, and I think he's quite protective of him. Feels like he wants to make sure that he's not. He wants to protect him slightly. but so there's a lot on his plate in that first bit, and especially once he finds out that his father's got cancer and is ill. He's dealing with an awful lot. So it's quite nice to play that kind of thing with the character who's got a lot on his mind. And also my role is to just watch and observe, and I watch and observe Hal with his boyfriend and with his new friends, and become part of that, but as an observer in a way. And then in the second story with Anna, you know, he's very sad. He's grieving for his father. So then you're playing something else. So you're playing the kind of sorrow and the struggle to like come out of that. And I love those scenes. I love the scenes with Kai and China, who play my best friends in the film, when they come round to my work and try and get me to kind of go out and enjoy life again. I love those scenes. They're very special, I think. They're great actors too.
Yeah, but yet you're almost always at play as well, you know, particularly with your.
So he's quite clever, because Mike's quite clever. So he's, you know what I mean? He's quite clever with his in his sorrow. He's quite clever. I think there was some darker sides to that didn't maybe make it. At the party scene, there's some where he's a little bit unpleasant to people, because he's upset and he didn't want to go to this stupid party, and here he is at the party. And there's a couple of moments. There's one that kind of glides over where he tells the girl, "Does it make you feel clever to patronise my dog, or does it make you feel clever to?"
Yeah, you just improvised that. In that scene.
What is, yeah.
Yeah, you did Freud, and you said, "Does it make you feel clever to lost my dog, something like that." I think I just did the Pink Panther.